All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Rodriguez, and it is a beautiful, rainy, kind of nasty morning here in San Antonio, but we had a great weekend of baseball on multiple facets, I guess. Every team played on Saturday, so it was a packed weekend, but the two biggest series this weekend was definitely the series in London with the Phillies and the Mets, and then obviously the biggest series that everyone in the world was probably watching, and that was the Yankees and the Dodgers. Two of the best teams in baseball by a long shot at the moment. And on top of that, that was the most playoff vibes I've seen in a midseason game in quite some time. Packed stadium Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was insane, but we're going to break that down and see who I think came out on top, what we're going to be looking at the next couple weeks, months, because this is very well going to be the two teams that are going to be running for it. I mean, they're the two best teams in baseball on paper. And just in general, man, you got on one side, you got Judge, Soto, which Soto was out this weekend, but you got Judge, Soto, you got all these massive stars on the Yankees side, including Aaron Judge, who's just absolutely a man amongst boys out there at the moment. It just seems like he's playing on a whole other level, considering where he was a month and a half ago since May 4th, he's just absolutely gone off. But before that, people were like, what the hell happened to Aaron Judge? But anyway. And then you got obviously Ohtani, and then Yamamoto, and Glasnow, and Betts, and Freeman, and the list goes on and on for the Dodgers, right? So let's talk about it. So we'll start with Friday night. Just kind of wanted to go over a recap of kind of how things went down. And honestly, I think last night, obviously Saturday night was a wash. We can talk about that. I mean, we can talk about Nestor Cortez and where I think he's at, and I think that kind of set the tone for that game, to be honest with you. Let me see something. Okay. But yeah, so I mean, Friday night was a great game. Going to they go to 11 innings, I think. Great game. So like I said, Saturday was a fucking wash. That was bad. And then obviously you had yesterday, which is another great game, Sunday Night Baseball. The thing that shocked me the most, the Yankees seemed on except for Saturday. Obviously, certain games just get out of hand. I mean, they ended up throwing Oswaldo Cabrera out there to pitch. So, didn't work out the greatest on Saturday, but nonetheless, like not terrible. Hold on one second. All right, let's see something real quick. I'm trying to get to the stat. I've said this a million times when I'm on the podcast, like trying to find stats, is like pulling teeth here, man. It's insane. Like, why can't you just give me I just want the stats of the last game. Like, why is that so hard? Let's see. Yes, regular season. Why can't we get like a date? The last 7 days. No, I don't want. I don't get why it's so hard for me to find the stats from the past weekend, but none. You know what I could do? Let's look at. Okay, so regardless, so Friday night, not a bad. I think. Hold on, guys. This is really pissing me off that you can't find anything on any of these games, and it's actually quite annoying that you can't. And that's like, that's my biggest beef. Before I even go any further into this whole thing, is like Major League Baseball. Like, I swear they gatekeep a lot of their stuff. I can't find half it. I'm trying to find it here. I'm like literally on multiple different things, and they're like, oh no, can't show you. Sorry. All right. So here we go. Got to go to the app, I guess. The app. They want you to look at the app. Okay, so on Friday, it was pretty much a pitcher's duel all the way through. I mean, it was 0 all the way through. It was Poteet. Poteet was pitching for. That was the main thing I want to talk about. So you had Yamamoto pitching. Obviously, has come into his own since he kind of struggled out the gate. Was a little bit underwhelming for the most part for the first half of the season. He's settled in. Obviously, for these foreign guys, these guys coming from overseas. I always say you should give him a little bit of time because it is a different ball game. There's a whole lot of life adjustments happening at the moment. Including the fact that they're playing a whole different game in a whole different, world pretty much. So I was like, give the guy a chance to really come into his own. And he did. I mean, he was pretty damn good on Friday night. What do you have here? 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts against the Yankees. It's pretty damn good. For the Yankees, they had Poteet go 4 2/3. And he was impressive. He went in really deep into a lot of counts. That I will say. He was deep into a lot of counts, which I think was why his pitch count was so high, ending up obviously he only made it through 4 2/3, but he was still good in those 4 2/3. I mean, he held them and he got Ohtani, he got everybody for the most part. I mean, 2 hits. Come on, that's pretty elite. But he only had 1 strikeout, so he's pitching to a lot of content with that lineup. You expect as such, right? Then you had Gonzalez come in, we had Tonkin, Ferguson, Holmes, and then obviously Hamilton, and then Santana come in. But looking at the game itself, Volpe 5 at bats, only had 1 hit on Friday. Verdugo had 1 hit on Friday. Judge had 2 hits on Friday. Stanton 0 for, Rizzo 0 for, Torres 0 for, LeMahieu 0 for. Jones came in later for him. Then Oswaldo obviously came in later. Also, both of them went over. Grisham got 1 hit, and then Trevino over. It's a little bit underwhelming on the bats, but I mean, like I said, Yamamoto pitched a gem. He was on. So was Poteet. Both pitching on both sides was elite that night. Betts 1 for 3. Ohtani 0 for 5, and we're going to talk about those two for sure. Freeman. And 2 walks for Freeman, 2 walks for Betts, 0 for Freeman, 0 for Smith, 2 hits for Hernandez. We're gonna talk about Hernandez, 0 for Hayward, 0 for Pages, 0 for Lux, and then again Kike had 1 hit. So Friday night was a close one, but that was pretty much determined by pitching, obviously, right? So all the pitching that went on both sides were elite. They were elite, and you can't say there weren't. Poteet came out and shoved in a spot that was needed, especially against the Dodgers opening it Friday night. Awesome, solid. But yeah, I mean, on Friday night, it very much seemed like the tension was there. You could feel it watching the game, even from home. I felt that you could feel the vibes, the energy. The stadium had a lot of energy, and you could tell like a lot of people know that this is what we're probably going to be seeing in October. Just calling it for what it is. September, October, Yankees and Dodgers. We're going to be seeing them again. I promise you that. Now, if we go to Saturday, Saturday was not as good a game. And I'm going to kind of explain why. Nestor Cortez has obviously not been, 2022 Nestor Cortez. Definitely wasn't that last year either. And then this year is a little bit better, but still not. I don't know. It's just still not there, in my opinion. He seems off. He seemed like maybe, and obviously I never take into account what Twitter says or what people are saying through different tabloids because everyone's got an opinion. Obviously, in the age of the internet, everyone's going to say what they want to say, myself included. I'm obviously giving you what I think. Take it with a grain of salt. I'll tell you that from the beginning. Same with everybody else you read. But people are saying, Nestor's washed. He was a one-season wonder, which a lot of people, I mean, honestly, with people pulling stats, it's hard to disagree, but I think Nestor's still a good pitcher. He's a 4 or 5 guy in a rotation. He's not, obviously with all the pitching woes that the Yankees had, at the beginning of the year, he was the opening day starter and he didn't even have a great opening day start. I remember watching it and I was like, here we fucking go again, because that was when they were opening in Houston. And I was like, here we fucking go again, Obviously, we came. They came out of that. Obviously, ended up winning that home opener when Nestor really struggled. I mean, it was rough, nerves, whatever you want to call it. But the game on Saturday, 11-3. It was 11-2. I think Judge hit a home run like the fucking 8th or 9th, like just kind of like a gimme one, I guess. But just to pat that home run leader, those stats. But not a good game. It was close. It was close until that 4th spot in the 8th. It was. 1-0-0, 1-1, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, and then they fell apart in the 8th. Yeah, they put up a 4 spot and then a 3 spot in the 9th. So a lot of runs given up on Saturday. Let's look at some of these stats. This is the Yankees. Let's look at the pitching lines here. Cortez 5 1/3, 5 1/3 for Cortez. 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 2 bombs. As a starter in New York, you got to be better. I mean, it's just Honkin again came out. Conley gave up the home run as well. Santana came out again, and then you have Oswaldo Cabrera came out and pitched 2 walks, no hits. Hey, not bad. That fucking 0.00 ERA for Cabrera. That's pretty sick. But nonetheless, guys, here we go with it. Kind of a little bit of some woes again. Volpe 1 for 5, Verdugo 2 for 5, Judge 2 for 4. Not bad. Stanton another 0 for, so that's 2 0 for nights for Stanton in a row. 0 for Rizzo, 1 for 4 for Torres. Man, Rizzo batting 224. He's struggling a little bit. Torres 2 for 3. Torres 1 for 4. LeMahieu 2 for 3. That was the one we needed back. Wells 1 for 3. Grisham 0 for 2. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Grisham here in a second, but yeah. So not a whole lot happening on the Yankee offense. Stanton and Rizzo are a little bit worrisome there with 2 offers back-to-back nights. Let's look at the Dodgers. So Stone started the game for them. 8 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 1 home run. Not bad. And Vesia's a good pitcher, man. I think he's pretty solid. 1 and a third, 1 strikeout, no hits, no runs, nothing. And Yarborough, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 home run. That was Judge. And these guys, Betts 1 for 4, Ohtani 1 for 4. So that combined, they're what? 1 for 8 in this series so far. So 1 for 8 on both Betts and Ohtani. That's struggling. 2 for 5 for Freeman, 1 for 3 for Smith, 2 for 4 Hernandez. Yeah, God, this guy. 1 for 4 Pajes, Rojas 1 for 5, Kike 1 for 3, and then Taylor 1 for 4. So again, pitching obviously played a big role until the later innings, and then people started smashing. Yankees just couldn't get it going on Saturday. Another one I think that was a little bit elevated. I didn't take Saturday as much as a test as I did Friday, and then obviously we're going to talk about Sunday. But Saturday was a wash. I don't really count that. People were like, "Oh, the Yankees are getting exposed. The Yankees are getting exposed." Like, put a good game on Friday, and then they put somebody. We try it again on Saturday, and it's just they have so many holes and blah blah blah. The Dodgers are a better team. I saw that everywhere, guys. When you play a series, some games are just going to be a wash. It's just how it's just going to happen. You're just going to show up, and it's just not going to be the day. Happens to every team at some point during the year. This one just happened to come during this series, and it was going to come eventually. Obviously, no team is perfect, even with the Yankees being, what are they? The Yankees are 46-21. You're going to have those games where it's just like, well, I don't know what the fuck happened, but this is what happened. We're going to bounce back and play better the next day, and that's kind of what's got to happen on some of these games. But to say that, the Yankees are getting exposed, there's all these holes, blah, 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 the Dodgers are that much better of a team, like, no. You just got the best of them on Friday. When we're going to talk about those performances and those key guys on each lineup here in a second. Saturday, whatever that was what that was. But then obviously we're talking about Sunday, and then yesterday on Sunday Night Baseball, much better game, much better evenly distributed competition. Obviously you had Hill, and is it Hill? However you pronounce that dude's name, God bless me. Hill, whatever. And then you Glasnow for the Dodgers. A very well-paced game. Obviously, two aces out there. Hill with the lowest ERA in baseball. I don't know if he still holds that at the moment. I'm going to check in a second. And then Glasnow, obviously, Tyler Glasnow is a stud. So for the Yankees, Hill went 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 1 bomb. Obviously, Teoscar Hernandez is just, I don't know, but he is on fire. Then you got Ferguson came in, Weaver came in, then Hobbs came in for the 9th. Gave up 2 hits, actually, 1 strikeout. So not horrible. Obviously expected a little bit more out of Gill with his past performances, but still 5 2/3. Still taking you into the 6th at least. Not horrible. Not bad. He got roughed up in the last inning, but then so did Glasnow. I think that both managers left starters in a little bit too long yesterday, personally. And we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about Glasnow here in a second. So, obviously, Volpe, another 0 for game, 0 for 4. I think that killed his streak. 2 for 4, Verdugo. Verdugo's been a solid replacement. Here's one thing I will say about Verdugo. Verdugo in the lineup is a great replacement for Soto. I will say that. But on Friday night, he had a bad route. On Saturday night, he had a bad route. He is proving more and more to be kind of an issue in the outfield. Maybe he had a bad weekend because I know he's not that bad of a defender. I've seen him make some great plays. So obviously it's a little bit uncharacteristic to call him a bad defensive player. Don't think that's true. But I think that the value that we're seeing Verdugo versus Soto, or maybe a Grisham versus Soto for those replacements, because in all honesty, Verdugo's in the lineup more often than Grisham. Grisham is. So obviously Grisham is technically replacing Soto, but a lot of people are making the comparisons, lefty, whatever you want to call it, to Verdugo and Soto, because Grisham has proven that he can play in this lineup, though he barely gets a chance to. Hardly played it all this year, but the man had a day on Sunday. But anyway, Verdugo's just kind of bothering me a little bit. Judge went off last night, 3 for 4, home run. Oh no, he didn't have a home run yesterday. What am I talking about? Stanton another 0 for. So Stanton is like 0 for 12 at the moment. Not good. Grisham 1 for 2, clutch bomb. We're going to be making a social video about that because it was an insane moment. If you didn't see it, it's wild. They're chanting, "We want Soto," and this dude hits the fucking go-ahead home run. It was elite. It was epic. It was everything. 1 for 4 for Torres. 1 for 3 LeMahieu, 1 for 3 Cabrera. He hit one off the foul pole home run there. That was exciting. And then Trevino obviously went 0 for 3, not a big deal. Had a great bunt play. There's an interference call that we're going to talk about. That was borderline. So again, we already talked about pitching there. So for the Dodgers, we had Glasnow out there. Glasnow and then Ramirez came in for 2 innings. Glasnow went to full 6. I think that Roberts left Glasnow in there 1 inning too long. And that came in the last inning, in the 6th. It came in. It was in the 6th because they both got pulled. Hill got pulled in the 6th, and then Glasnow finishes the 6th, but didn't go out for the other ones. But yeah, dude. I mean, Glasnow was nails. I mean, he was good, and then you could almost like see the fatigue set in. And I was like, hey, he's at 91 pitches coming up against Grisham, and then he came up and then he gave up a back-to-back hits off the home run and then got out of it. But why wouldn't you have pulled him before Grisham, but the at-bat before he was already at 88 pitches. He had the meat of this lineup coming up. Me, as a coach, as a manager, he's up there in pitches. It's going to take him, if let's just say he gets through these at-bats, it's going to put him over 100. Because getting through these next 4 batters that he had coming up, it wasn't going to be fucking easy. So I'm like, hey, we got to have somebody ready to come in because obviously Glasnow's balls are starting to elevate. Fastballs are flattening out. Curveballs are starting to live at the top of the zone. Those are things that I noticed just watching at home. Like, how did we not see that? Why did we not pull him? Obviously, competitors, whatever. These guys are competitors. They're going to plead their case that they want to finish. They want to do X, Y, Z. But as a team, you could have avoided this, and this could have been a 4-4 ball game. Honestly, 4-4 ball game if those last batters of the 6 don't come up or there's a change in trajectory of those at-bats. Changes the game in a whole. So I think a little bit of mismanagement by Roberts there in the 6th inning of Glasnow. I thought they should have yanked him before those at-bats came. And I even had a feeling. I was like, and I'm a Yankee fan, but at the same time, I'm a Glasnow fan. I love to watch Tyler Glasnow pitch. I've been watching him since he was at the Rays forever ago. And I saw it, and I was like, this is going to bite them in the ass. They should have pulled Glasnow before Grisham came up, and then, boop, see it. That happens. So, and it happens. Obviously, they got it. The Yankees had the 1 home run with Cabrera in the 3rd. Not anything too crazy off the foul pole, but the 6th inning, that 3 spot in the 6th inning in my opinion, could have been avoided as a Dodgers guy. But let's talk about the Dodgers a little bit, their lineup. So Betts, another one, 1 for 5. So combined, I think Betts was 3 for 15. Not good. Ohtani, 1 for 4. What is he? 2 for 15, 2 for 14. Not good there. Freeman 0 for 3. Smith 0 for 3. It doesn't really matter. He got an RBI, but whatever. Teoscar Hernandez 2 for 4 continues to just go off. Hernandez 2 for 4. That's Teoscar Hernandez. I'm an idiot. And then Hayward, I got a little descriptive. I was like, Kike Hernandez playing left field. 0 for 4 Hayward, 1 for 3 Pajes, 3 for 4 Lux. So Lux, good there. It's been struggling a little bit. Let's see that average. 216, right above 200. Not great. But honestly, Gavin Lux is a great defender. He'll come out of this, and he's been in the league for quite some time. I'm not really worried about that. And then Kike Hernandez batting 207, went 1 for 4. So now we have to talk about this. So, the Dodgers on paper are the best team in baseball any way you look at it. But the guy, so like I said, on Friday, analyzing the Dodgers for a second, on Friday, Yamamoto pitched his best start, I think, statistically all year, obviously bringing out the most competition that they had. Yankee Stadium, Friday night, sold out, best teams in baseball. Everyone knew the stakes going into the series. Obviously, Yamamoto could feel it. had a great game. But then Hernandez, man, Teoscar Hernandez clutched the game for them on Friday night. He in the 11th, he clutched it with the double to bring in the runs to take that lead, and the Yankees didn't come back. And then of course Saturday, like I said, is 10 times now, was a wash. And then Sunday again with hitting home runs and doubles. The guy is just on fire. He's a guy that I think barely got talked about. Obviously, was talked about a little bit because he was the hero Friday and one of the only run generators on Sunday. But are we not going to talk about okay, he is tearing it up. He's got 16 home runs, 48 RBIs, continuing to thrive in these pressure situations and these big moments. But then you've got, Betts, who was 3 for 12 in the series, and Ohtani was 2 for 13. And this has apparently been this is a continuing trend for these two guys in the last 3 to 4 weeks. They've just been really underperforming with how hot that they started. Ohtani starting off hot, Betts starting off hot, and then they've kind of just regressed a little bit, which is strange. It's very strange. It's just like, what? But then you got, what makes these teams so good and what people don't quite understand is okay, so these guys, for example, you pay the money for the big stars. The big stars are more than likely going to come in and do what they're expected to do. But there are going to be times, weeks, months, spans of time where they're not going to be themselves. They're going to go through shit. Like I say all the time, guys, these dudes are human. The Thunder is here. We're going to have to speed this bitch up, but because I'm worried about power outages here. But anyway, you got guys that the good thing that makes these teams so good is the depth that they have, right? And that's what I'm saying with Teoscar Hernandez and some of these guys that can come off the bench, like Chris Taylor. The Dodgers themselves have quite a bit of depth where if a guy's not struggling or if a guy's struggling or a guy's not performing or a guy's hurt, what have you, the situation, they have guys that they can mix and match and plug that can still perform. Teoscar Hernandez has been part of this lineup for a while, but not on, the level of status that like Betts and Ohtani and Freeman are on. He's kind of been down here just living, just tearing shit up. But that's what makes these teams so special is that everyone in their lineup is elite. Everyone in their lineup can contribute and win even when the big guys are down and out, right? So that's what makes them important. On the Yankees, on the other hand, same thing. We got Grisham, who's kind of a hidden gem. A lot of people were kind of upset with Grisham coming in with Soto having this injury, which strangely enough didn't play all weekend. And we're going to talk about that in a second because I don't want to keep this episode too long. But, Grisham comes in, everyone's chanting, we want Soto, we want Soto. They're not happy with Grisham in there, and he comes in and performs well over what was expected. He's an excellent defender, has been his whole career. Bat's been a little bit shaky here and there, but does have the flashes of power, which we saw on Sunday. Struggled a little bit Friday, Saturday, but Sunday he came into his own and put a jolt into that one. But yeah, what team do I think? Or before we get to the ending, the conclusion, I'm worried about Soto because everyone was saying it's not a big deal. He's expected to possibly play this weekend, and then homeboy didn't take one at bat. I didn't see him do anything. So worrisome for a guy that was like, yeah, he might be ready to come in for a pinch hit, yada yada, and then never even. And then it becomes the point where it's like we were never even going to use Soto at any moment. Forearm discomfort that's not that serious. In some of these big situations, especially on Friday, if there was a time that he was going to get used, it was Friday at some point as a pinch hit, and it didn't happen. I think Sunday they had some space, so it was probably okay. They didn't really think they needed him, but if they were going to use him, it was going to be Friday, and they didn't, which was worrisome, and it worried a lot of other people as well. So we just got to keep an eye on this Soto thing. I'm praying that they're honest with us, but I don't know. But who do I think is the better team here? I don't think that the series was, obviously the Dodgers won the series 2 out of 3. I don't think that's a tell to who the better team is. I think that Saturday was just a wash all the way around. I think that should go null and void. I think both teams showed from a couple defensive errors with the Dodgers to lack of hitting in some certain key situations with the Dodgers. Same thing with the Yankees, though some of the pitching holes that do exist. I mean, the Yankees have some great pitching, but there's still a few holes that need to be ironed out here and there. So both teams showed many imperfections, no doubt, from little things on both sides that added up, right? So who I think the better team is, I think they're pretty much, and make of this what you will. Tell me I'm full of shit. Tell me, it's a bunch of bullshit, whatever. I think that these are the most evenly balanced teams in star power, in contact, in power, in bullpen, in rotation. They are evenly matched all the way through. And it's scary to think, but it's true. I think that both teams have flaws and imperfections. Both of those, and on both sides, both those flaws and imperfections can raise ugly head if left unattended, if left unfixed. And we saw that in multiple aspects. The pitching on Saturday, some of the defensive woes on Sunday with the Dodgers. And then obviously on Friday night, both teams had multiple moments. Great pitching performances, yes, of course, but a lot of moments where things could have busted out and you needed timely clutch hitting, and it didn't happen on both sides. Same on Sunday for the Dodgers, Saturday for the Yankees, Saturday or Friday for the Yankees as well. So you see both sides have issues that need to be worked out, whether that's defensively, whether that's pitching issues, whether that's hitting issues. I think that both teams are as evenly distributed. And anyone who's a true fan of both sides are going to tell you that Saturday, we're not even going to count Saturday because we know that that's not the Yankees. And if the Dodgers were to get blown out reverse, I would have said the same thing. That's not the Dodgers we know. It off day, right? So I think on both sides, it's a 1-1. It's a 1-1 ratio here. They are as even as it could possibly be. And I think these next couple of weeks with if there's any pickups, if there's any movements, changes before the trade deadline is going to do anything. I don't think the Dodgers are going to be doing much of anything, to be honest. I think that they're pretty much set with who they got here. The Yankees the same. I don't think anyone's getting moved. I think if anything, Verdugo might get traded, maybe, but I just don't see what the chemistry that this team has at making it wise to start moving pieces around. I say we keep it this. If I was doing shit with the Yankees, if I was a GM, I'd be like, we're keeping this core. We have a solid core. This is a great team. Let's not fuck this up. But I'm not there. I'm here. So, but yeah, guys, in my opinion, honestly saw a lot this weekend. It was a great weekend of baseball from the London series, which I'll probably talk about later. I didn't really watch a whole lot of the London series just because it's the Mets. I've kind of boycotting the Mets, watching the Mets. They just bother me. The Phillies, I do like the Phillies, but again, if I'm going to watch, between different games and stuff going on this weekend, if I'm going to have to choose a game to watch, it's the Phillies. It's going to be the Yankees. So obviously, a lot of my time went to that series this weekend. But nonetheless, even teams, it's going to be interesting, and I'm super pumped to see that same. We're gonna see it, right? I'm calling it now. We're gonna see a Yankees Dodgers matchup again in October, no doubt, no doubt. I don't know if Houston might crawl their way in there somewhere. I don't know, but right now I am dead set that we're going to see another Dodgers Yankees rematch, and it's going to be as chaotic, as energetic as we saw it this past weekend. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to have a breakdown here in a little bit. It's going to be a good one. I have some funny stuff, some funny content from the weekend, obviously. So be sure to follow us on socials, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, wherever you watch short form content. If that's YouTube, obviously you're watching me on YouTube here, or if you're listening to me, make sure to like us, rate us on Apple, on Spotify. That always helps our algorithm. So please do that. If you're a constant listener, I thank you for that. I'm having a blast doing this. I hope you're enjoying it as well. And if you're on YouTube watching me do this, hey, hit that like, hit that follow, all the stuff that I tell you to do every single time. But again, guys, we will catch you guys tomorrow, and thanks for listening.